New York Red Bulls and Montreal Impact all set for this CONCACAF Champions League match from Stade Saputo. A cool evening in Montreal as the fans begin to filter in. Frank Klopas, he knows this is important for his club. The head coach of the Montreal Impact, an opportunity for them to really have something to play for in the latter stages of the season.
He's called this the biggest match of the season, and really, I mean, it's a bold statement, but it really is, because MLS playoffs are out of the question. This is all there is to play for Montreal.
The Impact had some injuries, rested some players on Saturday. It looks like they're fairly healthy for the most part, and some key guys, including DeVayo and Piatti that you mentioned.
Oh, they're rested. I mean, they sat out and watched that defeat against New England on the weekend, so they'll be raring to go in this one. Of course, two surprise central midfield, Caleb Malice and Gane Lapare, two young players, but I tell you what, they did well against New England despite the defeat, and today we expect them to have another bold game because they'll need a big performance today in the middle of that pitch.
It's such a different situation for the New York Red Bulls and head coach Mike Petke. He actually came out earlier today and said, we'll play for a draw. He doesn't like saying that very often, but they feel that might be a good situation with the second leg at home.
And we suspect they'll probably line up in a 4-5-1. Certainly with Sene leading the line up top. They'll be looking to really just solidify things defensively to begin with, and probably just try to play off the break with the big man Sene up top. But yeah, a point is really all Mike Petke, and sometimes he's honest to a fault, is playing for today.
Referee will be Neil Brizon. Assistants are Ainsley Rochard, Clifton Garnes. And the New York Red Bulls, you saw their formation, you saw their starting 11. One starter from Saturday's match is starting against Montreal. And that is on the back line, Armando. He will be the captain out there for the New York Red Bulls. Montreal Impact not concerned with the team that New York is fielding. They said they just have to take care of their own business. Frank Klopas speaking yesterday, as did Patrice Bernier. Unfortunately, Bernier still injured. He won't appear in this match. Young Eric Miller, just 21 years old, moves it back to Heath Pearce. Heath Pearce is number 44 for Montreal. This is a special match for him. He's a former New York Red Bull. He was part of the squad that won the Supporters' Shield for best regular season record in 2013. Montreal on the attack early. Damien Paranel got it to midfield. Jeremy Gagnon-Lapare sends it back. Possession kept for Montreal. Here's Pearce again, working his way forward. Now the 21-year-old Miller, the 5th overall pick in the MLS Super Draft. He's number 3 for Montreal. He'll take this throw in for the Impact. Marco DeVayo working in close quarters. Couldn't get around Red Bulls defenders. Pearce with a big body to handle, and Sayer Sen. New York not fielding their number 1 lineup, there is an opportunity for some players that are hungry for more playing time to step up and perform well. And you'd have to think that Sayer Sen up front is one of those players. He was acquired from New England, Lloyd, and he didn't play much there. So this is an opportunity for him. We'll see if he can create stuff offensively.
Well, it certainly is, and he scored against Deportivo Fast in their first Champions League game. So again, as you mentioned, he's one of the boys that be looking to really seal the deal and show the manager that I've got worthy game in me to really justify getting these minutes, and today is one of those great opportunities against a Montreal side that has everything to play for, really.
Strong start for Montreal, though. Here's Piatti. Oh, shot! Oh! That hit the bar. It looked like Ryan Mara got a piece of it, and then it hit the upright. What a strike from the Argentinian.
Well, we spoke about it, and it's the two we spoke about off the top. It's DeVayo, then it's Romero, just plays it on top, and we know one thing Piatti has is a rocket of a shot, sets up nicely for him. They don't close him down quickly enough, and Mira's just glad to see that one come off the post because he was well beaten by Piatti. Unlucky Montreal not up by 1 early.
Another corner for the Impact. That comes into the goal area, cleared by the Red Bulls. Possession right back to Montreal Impact. Here's the young Canadian from Sherbrooke, number 28, Jeremy Gagnon-Laparin. Andres Romero gets it to the top of the 18-yard box. Richard Eckersley, former Toronto FC defensive back. He's starting for the New York Red Bulls. He's had some ankle injuries he's been battling. Moves it ahead to Ian Christensen. Christensen has been used sparingly for New York. Connor Lade, he's number 16. He was just called up from the New York Cosmos of the North American Soccer League earlier today. Damien Paranel. Red Bulls trying to create something. Eric Miller's back there for Montreal. Cleared it as far as midfield. Here's big Sayer Sen. Played to the open side. Richard Eckersley. A veteran now in MLS. When he first started with Toronto FC, it looked like he might have the makings of a superstar, but injuries have really hampered his play.
Yeah, and Eckersley tonight played on more of an unfamiliar side. We know he's capable on the left side, but he's far more useful on the right side. Of course, Kimura occupies that today. But an ankle injury slowed Eckersley, and Toronto FC fans know all about him. He's a very hard worker, gets up and down the flanks, tries to whip balls in. Don't expect he'll be trying to do a lot of that today on his weaker left foot side. Probably just be concentrating on shutting down the overlapping Hassoun Kamara from Montreal's fullback position.
Marius Obakov, he's young, he's just 19 from Cameroon. He's in a dangerous spot. And his attempt off an Impact player. Or did it go off an Impact player?
Well, it went straight out for a throw-in, and I tell you what, he just doesn't get it right, but he does get that space, and you can see why he hit it, because the space opened up for him when he cut inside the fullback. Montreal a little bit guilty of closing down that ball once he cut in on that dangerous left foot of his.
Connor Lade's first touch, not a good one. Sayer Sen there to back up. Kosuke Kimura. All the way back to Armando. He's the veteran presence out there for the Red Bulls, the only starter they had from Saturday. And that will go for a throw for Montreal. Hassoun Kamara. Pierce ahead to Gagnon-Laparin. Montreal looking to create some offense. When the Canadian Championship started out back in May, it didn't look promising for Montreal in their opening match at Clark Stadium against FC Edmonton. They lost that first leg 2-1. Came back here to Stade Saputo, played well, won 4-2, and then was able to capture the Voyageurs Cup against TFC. A 1-all draw in May 28th, and then a 1-0 win here in Montreal on June 4th. Here they are in CONCACAF, still playing well in their group. 2 wins against FAS from El Salvador. And a win here would give Montreal 9 points. That would mean the best New York could do is equal them at 9 points, and then we get into some tie-break situations. But certainly Montreal is in the driver's seat. Win and they make things very difficult on New York. Win by a lot and it would be near impossible for the Red Bulls in the tie-break situation should New York win their final matches. Gagnon-Laparin. Kamara working one-on-one. Can't beat the defender. Connor Lade. Quickly over to Armando. And And that's just a little too high for Obakop to handle. And we've seen when he has an opportunity, he can make things happen. Matteo Ferrari. Up to Gagnon Laparé. How soon Camara? Gagnon Laparé was part of the Canadian squad last Tuesday. A big win at BMO Field in Toronto against Jamaica. First win in 16 months for the Canadians. 19 years old. He's part of that future for Canada. Future for the Impact. Part of it is Eric Miller. Andres Romero's only 24. Piatti. Over to Dili Duca. Immediately pressured by Eric Stevenson. Ruben Bouvert working his way through the middle of the field. Kosuke Kumura. Slides it ahead. Obakop. Very creative, but had Miller right on his back. Miller had him marked. Armando out there doing some verbal coaching. Ryan Mara doesn't play much in goal for the New York Red Bulls. Armando verbally telling him what to do and then clapped when he made the pass.
At New York, all they're really concentrating on is try to keep their defensive shape, try to close the ball as quickly as they can, keep those passing lanes clogged up. That's really all their game plan is, to open the first 15 minutes, and if they could get something on the break, they'll take it. But right now, it's all about containing the game and keeping it really at a pace that does not favor Montreal, which is at a high tempo, to really unbalance their defensive shape, that being New York. That's the key thing for them right now, and you would expect from Montreal's side, they want to up this tempo. So far, a little bit too slow for me.
Has to be difficult when a club admits they're willing to just play for a draw. Defense first. Might be thinking offense now. Impact have to be careful. They defend well. Gagnon Laparé trying to get it up the field. Piatti, he's got Romero coming down the left side. Crowd starts to buzz at Stan Saputo. DeValle was open for a moment. Couldn't get to the pass. Piatti. He has 4 goals in 5 MLS games. He's created that offense Montreal's been starving for. And now gets to the edge of the area and finally checked. Kosuke Kumura takes it from him. Gagnon Laparé back to defend. Got it to Ferrari. He had 2 Red Bulls closing in on him. Had to make a wise play, and he did. Callum Malice, number 16 for Montreal, scored his first MLS goal on Saturday against New England. Frank Lopez keeping him in the starting lineup. Maybe he's got more goals. Lopez certainly hopes so. Here's Malice. Connor Lade on him. Sayer Sen. Slides it over to Ruben Bouvert, 22-year-old from Spain. Connor Lade. Open is Marius Obakop, the 19-year-old again. Working on Eric Miller. He has been strong on the ball. And to Bouvert, and he couldn't get a shot away after his first touch. This is the dangerous part for Montreal, Lloyd. They're thinking so much offense, how to break down the New York Red Bulls, that they have to be careful not to get broken down themselves.
Well, the one thing we've noticed so far is the young man on the far right side, Obakop, is actually a left-footed player, so he's on the inverted side. You expect him to cut in most of the time and just try to get on top of that 18 and get on that left foot to fire a shot off. Eric Miller's got to figure that out, because so far it's been working for him to be able to get inside. And that's where they look for those quick combinations on top of the box once that occurs.
2 young players battling. Miller's just 21, Obakop 19. Callum Malice with space. A wise pass right to Piatti. Andres Romero, the two Argentinians working it back and forth. Romero trying to create a chance. And before he could get an opportunity inside the area, it was checked by Ian Christensen. Malice. Christensen intercepts again. Field wide to Richard Eckersley.
I think Montreal's really got to figure out a way to break down this back line, because I don't think this is going to be one of those days where the opposing fullbacks are going to be pushing forward. They're going to hold a real block of four in the back line for as long as they possibly can, as long as this score line remains on even keel and they've got a point in the bank.
Romero eludes one Red Bull. Here's Piatti. Can he make something happen this time? Everybody back for New York again, just as you mentioned, Lloyd. Needs to be some support for Piatti. Obakop. Spots Sen. Out into the top of the area. Sen some nice footwork. Obakop looking for a chance to shoot. Doesn't get one. Eckersley wants to join the offensive attack now. Kimura into the 15th minute of game one of this home and home between Montreal and New York. CONCACAF Champions League. Red Bulls 1-0 in Champions League play. Montreal 2-0. And Eckersley commits the foul on Dili Duca. That will create a change here for Montreal.
Yeah, it's the one time actually Richard Eckersley pushed up the pitch of the fullback, and that's a recovering run from him because he was out of position when they lost the ball in the center of midfield. Montreal did well there to attack that side that he had vacated, and as you see, he wasn't quick enough to get back, had to cause the foul. But it's one of those situations where I think you've got to watch. I don't think they're going to be doing that too often. In particular, we just saw why. Because once it breaks down, they're vulnerable, and I don't think they're going to want that on this day.
Into the area. Ball just over the head of Heath Pierce. It's hard for players when they smell an offensive opportunity, such as Richard Eckersley. They want to take advantage of it. Has to defend. Montreal gets a goal. And who else? It's the man who excels in Champions League, Marco Di Vaio. Di Vaio gets the goal just onside.
Well, it's who we spoke about. It's the dynamic duo, really. It's Piatti and it's Di Vaio. What a fantastic ball as Di Vaio peels off the back shoulder of that center half. He's got no chance, and once he takes that great first touch, it's a terrific finish as he pokes it by Mira. It's the two we spoke about, and we expect more of that. Piatti's going to drop deep in midfield, and if he's on that ball and he's able to face forward, he's going to pick out those runners, and there's no better off-the-ball runner than Marco Di Vaio in Major League Soccer and at this level. And once he takes that first touch and he's in on goal, he's going to bear down and put it away.
4 goals in 3 CONCACAF Champions League matches for Marco Di Vaio. And this is the Di Vaio that Montreal Impact fans are used to seeing from his 20-goal campaign last year.
Yeah, we have another look again. Dili Duca does when they win it, and then there's no pressure. And if you give a man with that much quality, that much time and space, that's what's going to happen. He's going to pick out the runner, and Marco Di Vaio is a king of peeling off the back shoulder of defenders. And then that first touch, it's clever, it's perfect. Mira has no chance when he's in that close.
Di Vaio again. Armando calmly gets back, sends it to his keeper, Mera. And he safely clears it away with Di Vaio in the vicinity. Duca can't knock it down for Montreal. Callum Malice tracks it down for the impact. One goal is nice. A big win here for Montreal would be even better than just a small margin of victory. Second leg back in New York, and you can bet the Red Bulls will be fielding their #1 unit that features Tim Cahill, Thierry Henry, Bradley Wright Phillips. Plenty of firepower. It's a great opportunity for Montreal to take advantage of the Red Bulls here at Stade Saputo. All the Montreal chances really began, like you said, Lloyd, when Eckersley decided to come up. That might be the last time we see that happen. Everything went to his side after that, and DeVayo capitalized.
Well, there's one thing Marco DeVayo is a master of. It's finding those open spaces. It could be a half a yard. It could be a yard. He doesn't need a lot. And if he's played in, and that's the thing about top quality strikers, they only need great service. Because we've heard it time and time again, a striker's only good as the balls that they get in good places when they make those runs. And that was a spot on, a perfect ball played over top by Piatti, who's a master at that himself.
Obakop had nothing but the blue jerseys in front of him. Couldn't get a ball through. It's been quiet so far for Montreal keeper Evan Bush. Has to be alert now, though. Armando. Low shot with the left foot. Here's the goal again, Lloyd, and this is DeVayo.
Well, I tell you what, we know he likes to flirt with that offside line, and this is marginal. I mean, the referee's assistant, rather, he does not call it. Was he blindsided? Was it a case of being an angle? We don't know, but he looks to be marginally offside there.
Camara clears it out of the area. Red Bulls maintain possession. Auvert gets it to Sayer Sen. He can't make his way around Matteo Ferrari. Obakop came back to track down Dili Duca, and it appears referee Neil Brizon is pulled out the yellow card. Damien Paranel trying to plead his case.
And it's a case he's going to lose. He's behind the play. He's frustrated. You can see after he's done that, he's having to go at one of his teammates that he figures should have got back. But that's an easy decision for the referee to make. Paranel goes in the book. 20th minute, an early booking.
Paranel, another Red Bulls player that hasn't played much, 31-year-old from France. His only appearance was against El Salvador, Foss from El Salvador in CONCACAF Champions League. Ferrari. Heath Pierce. Space for the defender from Modesto, California. No room for Duca to work. Eric Miller gets it to DeVayo and clearly had his jersey pulled. Play continues. Christensen was the one who had the hand on DeVayo. Piatti, so creative, fun to watch. Got it back to Pierce. Malice. Camera back to Callum Malice. Pierce waving at Eric Miller to move up the pitch. Ball comes loose to Duca. Daniel Lapare, a nice play to spot Miller. Will he get an opportunity for a service into the area? Daniel Lapare, a ball to the top of the area, but New York defended. Ian Christensen. Back to Armando. Pierce was worried that play would be whistled. He was in a shoving contest with the big body of Saer Sen. New York Red Bulls, they're thinking MLS playoffs right now, and you can't blame them. They're fourth in the Eastern Conference, only 1 point ahead of Columbus and Philadelphia, so things very, very tight with 6 regular season games remaining. They have an important match on Saturday against the Seattle Sounders, the favorites right now to win the Supporters' Shield for best regular season record, so that's a tough match for New York. CONCACAF Champions League might be taking second fiddle, but they'll have to focus here. Impact coming in again. Duca, low shot, wide of goal.
Yes, Dylan Duca, he's actually been lively since he's joined this team. One of the new faces as well. You know what he wants to do. He just wants to clear his feet, get inside. There's a bit of traffic, though, and he tries to steer it into the near post. Just hits it on the wrong side of the ball and pulls it a bit. But it's that man, really, Piatti, driving the attack once again. Just runs into traffic, Duca. No opening to find the back of that net this time around.
Luis Robles, the normal keeper for New York Red Bulls, isn't even with the club here in Montreal. Ryan Mara getting an opportunity. Ferrari again. He got into a physical battle with Sen. Saer Sen, the 27-year-old from France, has really been mixing it up with the back line of the Montreal Impact.
Well, I think he'd claim that he's the victim of that mix-up because, quite frankly, he's a big boy, and I know Ferrari and Pierce are thinking they've got to play him rough. I'm not sure it's really deserving of booking, and the referee's now handing Ferrari a yellow card. There is contact, of course. He's a big man. I mean, he can take that. Ferrari, of course, a little surprised at the booking, as am I, to be fair. If anything, I thought Pierce's challenge on Big Saer Sen moments ago was a little bit more aggressive. But I don't think that's going to ease off from them. I think they're going to continue to kind of feed him that, because if they don't, quite frankly, he could spin them and run at them, because he's a big, tall, strong fella, but he's also a powerful fella that could lose them the first 5 yards and separating with them from a power standpoint.
Have to wonder how much of the referee's decision to book Ferrari was based on the fact that Sen is bleeding. He didn't pull out the yellow card till Sen showed him he was bleeding from his mouth, and continues to get attention on the sidelines.
Well, that must be a new rule. Punish after seeing the damage. That's a new rule in our sport. I disagree with that booking. There was some rough play, but I don't know if it was worthy of a booking.
Piatti. He couldn't get a good opportunity. There he is again. Nice back heel. Gilly Duca. Got it into the area. Nobody was there but Red Bulls. Keith Pierce calmly comes over and stops the run of Ruben Bover. Pierce now 30 years old. He signed with the Impact in March. Spent the last 2 seasons, 2012 and 13, with the New York Red Bulls, so he's familiar with some of these players. Probably quite a few in this starting lineup even he doesn't know.
Well, Pierce has been around the block. He's played for the U.S. national team, so he knows a number of these players. You see Saer Sen come on after getting patched up on the sideline. The man we speak of, Heath Pierce, he's been around, as I said. He's played for the U.S. national teams. A lot of these guys on every team around the States are very close friends with Heath Pierce. He's actually one of those guys that's actually social media friendly as well. Never shies away from a camera, never shies away from a microphone, and all around happy-go-lucky fella and a decent player, might I add.
At training yesterday, he was being urged by the media to really talk about how important this match was, not only because it could get Montreal that much closer to a quarterfinal berth in CONCACAF play, but because it's against his former club. And he wasn't biting. He was saying the standard answer, it's a big game, we want to win, we have something to play for, but didn't go any further than that, despite being asked the same question 3 or 4 times.
Well, rare foray of Asun Kamara jumping in the attack for Montreal from his fullback position. We haven't seen a lot of that from either side, for that matter, from him or from Eric Miller on the left side. That pass a little bit overhit by Caleb Malice that time around.
The Montreal Impact supporters letting their voices be heard despite a chilly night in Montreal. There was some precipitation when the match began. It appears that that is stopped. Ferrari now has to be careful. He's on a yellow. Into the 30th minute now. Montreal Impact leading the New York Red Bulls 1-0 on the strength of a Marco Di Vaio goal. He has been a powerhouse in CONCACAF Champions League. Obakop to Sen. Quick touch to Christensen. Eckersley. Camara. Took the ball momentarily. Aubert gets it back, working against Gagnon Laporet. Gets it into the area, nobody there for New York. Di Vaio comes back. Over to Duca. Romero. Piatti hovering down the right side. Piatti cuts in around Paranel. Was looking for Di Vaio, but Kimura had him marked. Caleb Malice. Gagnon Laporet. Piatti back to Gagnon Laporet. 19-year-old from Sherbrooke. Graduating from the Montreal Impact Academy. Now had 8 players graduate from their academy and play with the big club. Kimura. At the Sayer Sen. Connerly. Sends it ahead for Eric Stevenson, and he can't get to it.
That's more or less what you expect from this New York side. They're a little bit mismatched. You don't expect anything to really be flowing in their attack. Certainly the fluidity is going to be compromised because, let's face it, a lot of these players haven't really been together for probably any extended period of time. So you would expect, you know, overhit passes, underhit passes, and a little bit of disarray when the team attacks.
Eckersley defended on Romero. Marius Obakop, he's been entertaining. Ball comes back. Tried a left-footed strike. Impact are fully aware. Not letting Obakop get any shots through. It's been quiet through the first 32+ minutes now for Evan Bush, getting the starting goal for Montreal Impact. This could be a testy moment, though.
And I think they've really got to avoid this, Montreal. I mean, that's Kamara. I think that was an unnecessary infraction for him. I mean, there's nothing going on for New York right now. These set pieces are very, very dangerous. And this is how they bank on trying to get something accomplished.
Oh, what a save by Evan Bush. A terrific service in. Eckersley got a head on it, and Bush was outstanding to make the save.
Beckersley, probably the shortest man on the pitch, but I tell you what, there's no one with a bigger heart. We know that from his days with Toronto FC. He gets really well-timed header there. Caleb Malice beaten for that. I think Malice might have jumped a little bit too soon, but right on cue, as I said, set pieces, if it's not necessary for you to foul, don't do so, because they've got nothing doing so far in the game.
Another set-piece chance. Armando couldn't get a shot through to goal. Back into the area, Gagnon Lapare being coached by Evan Bush, his keeper, to away with the ball. And the youngster did exactly that. Bush with a big save for the impact.
I don't want to harp on the point, but Kamara is he's one of the ones. He's got 9 yellow cards in the Major League Soccer to lead Major League Soccer in that department. He's got a couple red cards to his name, and you know, Christoph Kroll is missing today because he picked up 2 big bookings over 2 games, both unnecessary by my recollection. Felipe's missing the games. This team has been guilty of red card. Christoph Kroll, for that matter, was ejected the last game in New England, a game that they were fighting to win, and really the game was out of reach once he got sent off. So indiscipline has really been a part of this team all year, and it's harmed them. And it's not just about red cards, but it's about fouling in poor areas of the field, especially when New York, there's nothing developing for them. They haven't shown that they can break you down defensively, so why give them a set piece that we know is so vital and such a big part of the game?
It's a great point. New York created a chance. Maybe a fortunate lesson learned for Montreal. It didn't cost them on the scoreboard. Kamara, he's tested again. Heads it out of play for a throw-in. Sen taking his time. And it's off a red ball. It'll be a throw-in for Montreal, and Sen going to have a talking to, and the crowd's going to let Saer Sen hear it. As he booted that ball when he thought it should have been a New York throw-in. Pierce. Ely Duca. Eric Miller. Can't get a pass around Kosuke Kimura, who's very animated with his conversation with one of his teammates. This turns into a corner for Montreal. Another chance to make something happen off the set piece for the Impact. 2-goal lead before the half would be a terrific 45 minutes for the Impact. Gagnon Lapare. Service in, but well played by keeper Ryan Mara. Mara had 18 starts in his first year in MLS in 2012, but hasn't appeared in MLS League play in 2 seasons. His last appearance was in August against Foz from El Salvador in Champions League play. Sen eludes Romero, and the crowd starting to let some boos out when Sen gets the ball. He has been dangerous at times, and he's caused some problems for the defenders for the Montreal Impact. Beauvais into the 6-yard box, but Montreal had come back to defend. Eric Stevenson. He's played his university soccer at Akron. Behind the play was DeVayo, and a wise interception by Armando to break that play up. Otherwise, Marco DeVayo would have potentially been going in all alone from about 30 yards out.
This is probably as good a time as any to point out that as much as New York is fielding a side that's far from their first team, you know, this Montreal team, their back line is their weakness, especially in the center of their back line. Matteo Ferrari and Heath Pierce amongst just two of the few that have turned out for Clopas' side in the center of that back line. There's been a lot of issues. They're the leakiest side in Major League Soccer, and on any given day they can concede out of nothing because they're not the quickest. They do have the experience, but speed is their weakness, and they are vulnerable in that department. If you get some quick ball movements, quick off the ball movements, they can be caught flat-footed in the back line.
Red Bulls trying to do that now. Maybe an offensive burst from New York before the halftime whistle. Connerley over to Stevenson. Stopped by Evan Bush. A hard left-footed strike from Stevenson.
Why not? The young man says, we haven't developed anything. Let me just have a go from distance. And I tell you what, he tests Evan Bush, who had to make a save. He gets all of it, that Stevenson. Everything behind it. Tries to sneak it in near post. Well done, Evan Bush.
This set piece defended well by Montreal. Into the 40th minute now. Marco Di Vaio has the impact up. They're defending. Zaire Sen. Oh, that was very dangerous. Looked like a service going to the back post, but some contact.
Well, Zaire Sen decides he's going to take on Heath Pierce, and there's absolutely no pressure on the ball, really. I mean, Heath Pierce is just standing in front of him. Gives Zaire Sen a target, unfortunately for New York. Boisvert makes his run just slightly too soon and drifts into the offside position. Gives you a little bit of an idea, though. Sometimes Montreal is so guilty of being lackadaisical and closing the ball down quickly enough and just not giving enough credit to the man on the ball in that they can actually hurt you in that situation. Is just a moment of just about every yard, really, a yard rather, that saved them.
Zaire Sen working against Heath Pierce, and Pierce defended well, had Sen marked the whole time. Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé, Eric Miller, now Andres Romero. Romero, the only other impact player besides Di Vaio to score in CONCACAF Champions League play this year.
He's been terrific this year in Major League Soccer for Montreal. Certainly one of the bright spots. Last year, not that good a season. You could see the potential. He just wasn't fulfilling it. Came back this year in Montreal and just really lit up things from the get-go. Hasn't slowed down.
Ferrari had a promising-looking run. Miller retreats back to Heath Pierce. Ferrari again. Quick touch to Piatti. Impact, like to get him the ball. Pierce with space. Romero just out of his reach. It'll still go for, well, it'll be a goal kick.
Right idea by Heath Pierce there, but he just overhits it as Romero wanted it a little bit wider. Pierce took a real stab at it and stuck it through off the end line for a goal kick.
Taylor Malice over to Camara. Gagnon-Laparé. Pierce. Di DeVayo dummies it. He knew Romero was back there. Piatti. DeVayo. And it's given away. Armando takes over for New York. Ruben Bovaert retreating back toward his goal. Spotted Connor Lade.
Bovaert did really well there because he looked like he was in a bit of trouble. Very good ball inside to relieve the pressure. New York kept possession, giving it away though.
Romero back to Miller. Montreal, a 1-0 lead. Haven't created a lot of offense since DeVayo scored back in the 17th minute. Won't be a lot of added time. We're told just 1 minute. Romero ahead to DeVayo. And Damien Peronel, he got back in time.
Yeah, you got to give Kamara a lot of credit there. He's picking his moments to go forward, and it's perfect because every time so far, the few times that he's gone forward, he's been able to create something. That time, just a little bit under hit the cross for DeVayo, who had jumped in front of his recovering defender and had positioning if it had gotten in, but it didn't clear the first line of defense on the back line. But give Kamara a lot of credit. He's not going up all the time. He's picking his moments, but so far he's been effective in doing so.
DeVayo to take this corner. Montreal, a great chance late in the half. Nobody there for the impact. And there it is, 1 minute of added time. Connor Lade, not much room to work. Able to get it to Kimura. Away to midfield. Malice takes over for the impact. Kimura intercepts before Romero can get to it. Zaire Sen. Miller anticipated that and got in front of Sen. Montreal content to maintain possession, not give New York a chance in the last few seconds, maybe create one of their own. That service too far. And that whistle ends the first half of play, and Marco DeVayo is at it again. Another goal for him, and the Montreal Impact have the lead after the first half. An important half for Montreal. They came close to getting more. Also hit a post. And here's the DeVayo goal. Coming up, Jerry Dobson, Craig Forrest, James Sharman have a UEFA Champions League recap. the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Montreal going to push for another. Are they good at this?
How important? What if I ask that? How important is it for Montreal to not sit on this lead and go for more?
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, scoring again. I was just thinking it struck home about a minute ago. I felt that.
It drops like 10 degrees here.
Yeah.
Hour to hour, it's a fucking nightmare.
Are you born and raised Montreal?
No, I've been here since '93.
Okay. Yeah. So this is home now.
And I spent the last few winters in Toronto. I honestly had no idea it was that different.
Oh yeah.
I really didn't.
Yeah.
And my buddies used to laugh at me. How is it going up in that cold? I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's gonna be the same. Yeah.
I was a bit surprised. I mean, I felt really stupid. What's he talking about?
Just put your IFB in. Like. How old are you? Just I'm 40, so I still try to play sports and stuff.
I might have retired again. I retired from fun soccer.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had 3 retirements to go when I made my initial retirement.
Retirement can be hazardous.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the highlights.
Sure. We good here, Steph? We're good?
Oh, is it, yeah? And apparently the weather woman has no clue what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Andre, he's been asking about you.
Get that hooligan out of here.
They let him in here again.
Stade Saputo in Montreal was rocking and rolling when Marco Di Vaio got that first half goal to put the Montreal Impact ahead of the New York Red Bulls 1-0. We're at the half getting set for second half action in the CONCACAF Champions League, Lloyd, and you're much drier if you're sitting at home watching right now. The rain has started to fall since halftime has hit. It is chilly here in Montreal, but it did heat up in that opening half. Some great chances for the Impact, and they did manage to capitalize.
Yeah, and it all started with Montreal, and I suppose it's what we expected. They are the team with their first lineup out here, and it's that man Piatti. We spoke about him off the top. They don't close him quick enough, and if you give him just a yard of space, he's going to be able to do that. And Mira lucky to see that one come off the post.
And of course, you get it back to Piatti, and he's looking for one man and one man only.
And again, it's even worse than before. On the first time, they didn't close him quick enough, he hit the post. This time, they don't close him quick enough. He's able to pick out a pass, and look who it is. It's the man who peels off better than anybody off the fullback, Marco Di Vaio. He peels off the fullback, and he does just so well, puts that away. And it was Eckersley on that side that Marco Di Vaio pulled away from. Tries to make it up on the other side with a flashing header. Evan Bush to the rescue, as he's done, and that's why he's taken over from Troy Perkins as Montreal's #1 goalkeeper.
Had a pair of really important saves in the latter stages of that opening half. The only shot on target for the Montreal Impact results in a goal for Marco Di Vaio. Possession fairly even, and the Montreal Impact They want to advance to the quarterfinal stage of CONCACAF Champions League, Lloyd, and they're in a good position to do that with a half to play. Is one goal enough, though, because they still have to go to New York to play?
It's such a great question, because they're in 3 points now if it stands this way, which is great because they've got 9, and then it's all about New York because who has to go to El Salvador, which you expect them to do, and beat Deportivo fast. But then they've got Montreal coming to New York on October 22nd, then it's all to play for that game because if they finish on equal points, it's going to come down to goal difference between the teams. And so that's why the 1-0 question is so important. Do they want to get more? Because it may come down to goals difference between these two teams. So Montreal, if they have an opportunity, they should be trying to get more goals. And if you're New York, you're just trying to hold it like this.
So for Montreal, what do they have to do to create more chances?
Well, they've got to put them in. That's for one thing. I mean, the stats show that New York actually has 6 shots at goal, 2 on target. Montreal 4 with just the 1 on target. They look to be creating stuff, but they haven't broken through because we said New York is sitting with that solid back 4, which is always so difficult to break down. They've got to get more numbers. They've got to, I think, pick up the pace when they attack. Their counterattack has been really improved once Piatti has joined the ranks. I think they got to get back to that. Push the ball a little bit quicker, get numbers, and move the ball quicker.
Montreal Impact need the 3 points in CONCACAF Champions League play. That would keep them atop the group. Marco Di Vaio has the goal. There's a half to play, and we'll get to it next. Yeah, oh, I feel for you. I feel for you.
September 20th, 7:30 p.m. when the Impact will host the San Jose Earthquake. Get your ticket tonight at San Saputo ticket office.
Looks like it's.
Mesdames, Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, accueillons maintenant les Blancs de Montréal. Please greet your Montreal
Europa League group stage action coming up on Sportsnet tomorrow. On Sportsnet World, Tottenham takes on Partizan. Everton against Wolfsburg. That's at 3 o'clock Eastern time on Sportsnet East, Ontario West and Pacific. Also at 3 Eastern on Sportsnet World, Napoli takes on Sparta Prague. Lots of soccer action on Sportsnet tomorrow, and we've got an important match going on right now. It's Stade Saputo in Montreal, also going on right now. It's raining. Started pouring just after the halftime whistle, and it has continued to do so. It hasn't hampered the fans who are making their way back to their seats. The supporters are still cheering for the Montreal Impact, and Marco Di Vaio has his club up 1-0. After his first half goal in the 17th minute. Important for Montreal to maintain the lead, get the result, take the 3 points. Some more goals would be nice too. Eckersley moves Sends it back to Paranel. We start the second half. No substitutions. Same as we were in the opening half. Red Bulls with their starting 11. Only one starter from Saturday's match against Philadelphia in MLS regular season play. It's a tough spot for Mike Petke, the head coach in the New York Red Bulls. They're fighting for a playoff spot, trying to cinch that in the Eastern Conference. Important match for them on Saturday in league play against top of the table Seattle. Montreal, they can just be spoilers at MLS, but they've got a lot to play for here in CONCACAF Champions League. Great chances, Patrice Bernier put it yesterday, to save their season. Something to play for.
Well, Montreal themselves rested a number of players on the weekend against New England, in addition to suspensions and a number of injuries. They've got 8 players that were not in contention to start that game through injury as well, so they were faced with a number of issues. And so there's 6 different players in this match that played on the weekend, so there are a number of fresh players for both sides.
Aubert saw Armando was open for a moment. Montreal defended. Aubert again. A nice play to use Eckersley as a decoy, maintain possession. It's New York to start this second half, putting some pressure on the Impact. Aubert, marked by Gagnon Laparé. Eckersley creates some space. Connor Lade, head to Stevenson. That hit something on its way into Evan Bush. Nonetheless, the Impact keeper made the save.
You know, RJ, you spoke of New York and their schedule. They've got a tough one coming up, and out of the 6 games, they've got 4 at home, and I think that's important because 2 away from home. Traditionally, they're not very strong. In Major League Soccer this year, just 2 wins out of 15, so they don't get it done on the road. And so out of these 6 games, these 4, I think they think those are the games that's going to solidify their playoff spot and their standings. At the moment, they're 4th in the standings, and really they're narrowly out of 9th place. I mean, it's so tight in the Eastern Conference, just I think 5 or 6 points out from 9th place. And so, you know, if you slip by a couple games, all of a sudden you've dropped out. But if you can maintain that form, and they go now, they've got Seattle at home. It's a tough side. Seattle, they've just clinched a playoff spot on their own, and they're trying to win Supporters Shield, the best overall record. So that's going to be a tough game, but it is at home, and I've seen New York a number of games. They are a different side at home from the one that plays away from home.
It doesn't get any tougher than Seattle, so they'll hope for a result on their home pitch, Red Bull Arena. Top 5 teams in each conference qualify for the playoffs, and as you mentioned, Lloyd, New York's in 4th, but that is precarious. They're only 1 point ahead of Columbus and Philadelphia, and right now, if you look at the table, Philadelphia is on the outside looking in, but that 1 point is easily changed. Red Bulls certainly in contention in this match too, just down by 1.
And it's really the fans as well that kind of you have to feel for, because, you know, when you buy this ticket and you circle this on the calendar, you want to see the Thierry Henrys, you want to see the Tim Cahills, but you really also got to understand what Mike Petke, the manager, is going through here. This is a team, it's 7 games in 23 days they've got in this stretch of games. Thierry Henry is no spring chicken, nor is Tim Cahill. Of course, these are the big boys, but they need the rest. And, you know, Pigangailo as well. These are the players that they're older. These are your big players. And so the fans are a little bit cheated, but you have to understand from New York's point of view.
Stevenson put a dangerous ball in. Montreal's been allowing some set-piece opportunities for New York. They have to be aware not to give the Red Bulls those chances. Can even throw Bradley Wright Phillips into that mix. He's 29. He has 21 goals. That leads all of MLS. He's not in this match tonight either. So there's some firepower on the Red Bulls. That's why they're one of the highest scoring teams in MLS action.
Well, Bradley, for his case, he's coming off of injury, so he's missed the past game. for New York, and he's resting for the final stretch of games. By all accounts, he'll be ready for the weekend. And they were certainly, if there was any question mark, he certainly wasn't going to play this game as the first game back from injury, and that's why he's away. But make no mistake about it, Thierry Henry, you know, the case where they played at the Olympic Stadium here in Montreal, those aren't even games he fancies playing because it's turf at the Olympic Stadium, and that's usually earlier on in the season.
Eric Stevenson to Connor Lade, just called up from the New York Cosmos of the North American Soccer League. Richard Eckersley back to Christensen, and nobody there for the Red Bulls. That's some miscommunication. Keith Pierce, he couldn't waste any time. Had to move the ball on the first touch. Little more time now, and it's Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé, the 19-year-old from Sherbrooke. Into Camara. Eckersley knocks down Romero.
Off the ball, a little bit of an incident between Camara and Marco Devay. It looks like they just ran into each other trying to make a run. Total accident. They got up and apologized to each other. Marco Devay is still looking like he's trying to shake it off.
You don't want him injured. Added that long list of injuries the Impact have had. That was a rough Saturday. They had 10 players who were unavailable against New England. A little healthier now. Still would like to get a few more players back. Ignacio Piatti to his fellow Argentinian Romero. Piatti tracks it down again, and then it's taken away by Connor Lade. Pierce with space. Up to Dili Dukat. Caleb Malice. Montreal maintaining possession. Can they create a chance? Can they increase their lead to 2? This is the first leg of a home-and-home against the New York Red Bulls in CONCACAF Champions League play. The second leg will be in New York on October 22nd. The importance of that match is still yet to be determined. We'll see what happens in this second half. Montreal, if they could get the result by even more than 1-0, that would put a lot of pressure on New York. And keep in mind, New York also has to go to El Salvador and get a result should Montreal win tonight. And it's always tough to play in El Salvador.
I think the advantage for New York going to that situation is that Deportivo Fast is already out of the competition. So they're just going for a stroll really on the day. You'd expect New York to come away with that result. But I really think, you know, we spoke at halftime about New York not being so strong on the road. But you know what as well? There's no worse team than Montreal on the road. They're still looking for their first win in Major League Soccer away from home. And New York can be well aware of that. So this 1-goal lead is great that you get the 3 points. But will it be enough to hold off New York at home?
Set piece for the Impact. Gagnon-Laparé put it into the area, headed aside, picked up by Dili Dukat. The lone away victory for the Impact came against FAS in El Salvador. Of course, that's CONCACAF Champions League play. The second leg of New York-Montreal on October 22nd will be on Sportsnet World, so we will have that match for you.
And of course, all the big boys will be back for New York in that one.
Oh, yes.
So their plan is to really try to lay it all on the line for that game. As I said, you would expect them to go to El Salvador and get that result. And if they don't, well, that would be a shocker. And of course, that would play into Montreal's hand, meaning they would more or less walk away with topping the group in that stage.
There are certain things that make it difficult for visiting teams. We talked with Patrice Bernier yesterday about it and some of the challenges of playing FAS in El Salvador. He talked about the pitch. Piatti Sends it back to Daniel Lapierre. Also, you never know with the refereeing what you might get.
The good old referees. Oh, it's the elements, really. It's never the team you're worried about. It's the elements. Is it rain? Is what's the field like? Is there enough? Is there grass on it? It's all those things with the heat and all of that. Of course, the fans that stay awake at night to keep you awake at night.
That's right.
You can't undermine the importance of that.
So logic says Red Bulls should get the result when they travel to play Foss, but you never know. Eckersley turns it over. Camara, nice touch to Piatek. Daniel Lapierre. Caleb Malice works his way toward goal. No room. Red Bulls trying to defend now. Andres Romero all the way back to Ferrari. Malice will send it to his keeper, not right to his keeper either. Bush has to retrieve that out of the area and elects just to send it out of play.
Well, the manager won't be happy with that. You can see both the assistant and the head coach Frank Lopez jump off the bench immediately. They're trying to circulate the ball to draw New York out of position to try to find those spaces in between or maybe in behind, but it was really sloppy on the part of Caleb Malice, forcing Evan Bush into an errant clearance. You know New York is just going to sit in their shape, and that's what I said at halftime. They've got to move the ball a little bit quicker, show an intent to go forward, show an intent, just break them apart. If they sit there, it's just not good enough for you to just kind of mope around and casual passing. Go at them. Try to really break through with penetrating passes.
Romero has space. Devayo was tied up with Eckersley, wasn't on the move. The pass intended for Devayo. Romero goes after it himself. The danger with going for it for Montreal, Lloyd, I guess, would be giving up an offensive chance for New York.
It's always about keeping that defensive balance. So when Kamara pushes forward, Caleb Malice has to sit in that hole in case it breaks down. Or Lapierre, he does that same thing. And that's all it is. It's just about is there cover behind once players push forward. There's nothing wrong with going forward, but it's just a matter of holding things down in the forward on the back line, or in this case maybe centrally if things break down. But you can't just rely on the front three to always provide your attack, especially against a team that's sitting with so many numbers behind the ball as New York is right now.
Pierce has his pass intercepted. Sen in a foot race against Ferrari. Sen comes up with it. Zaire Sen's pass was behind Ruben Bover. Daniel Lapierre sends it back up to midfield. There's Marco Devayo. Devayo's pass is errant as well. Turned over. Red Bulls. Eric Stevenson. He's got time to make a play. Sen. Left foots it ahead. Out of the reach of Obakop. And Evan Bush takes over. CONCACAF Champions League, Sporting Kansas City against Deportivo Saprissa tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. That will be on Sportsnet World. Deportivo Saprissa leads Group 2 with 4 points. Sporting KC has played one match. That was a draw. Paranel over to Eckersley. Stevenson, he's beginning to feel more comfortable out there for New York. A crafty pass. Got it ahead to Christensen, but he couldn't make anything happen.
You can see that the ball movement wasn't bad from New York, but then they run out of ideas once they get in certain areas of the pitch, usually in the attacking third. Just not enough numbers And Stevenson, who makes a good run out of midfield, he's kind of stuck and not sure what to do, and of course it ends up in a throw-in the other way. That's really what you get when you have players that are not familiar with each other. It's a disjointed lineup, and so you're going to get disjointed play.
Gamora over to Marius Obakop, 19-year-old. Put it into the 6-yard box. It was eliminated from play by Matteo Ferrari, but it is a corner kick for New York.
That was well cleared by Ferrari, well timed. But I tell you what, by my recollection, that's the first time Obakop actually went down on his right foot and flew by Eric Miller, so he kind of outsmarted them there. Miller probably expected him to cut inside. Variation really worked for him on that regard.
Fourth corner opportunity for the Red Bulls. And that one easily defended by Montreal. Armando, the lone starter from Saturday's 11 for New York. That was MLS regular season play against Philadelphia. That was also a rainy match for the Red Bulls. They're getting used to playing in the rain.
The crowd here at Stade Saputo don't mind the rain, and probably a few of them have left. But, you know, there was some concern about the crowd that was going to be here today, and I think credit to the Montreal fans who showed up under some tough conditions. I mean, it's not very warm today, but they want to see their team get a victory today, and it was a great day for that. Of course, with Mike Petke saying he's going to field a second team, the stage was set really for them to get a victory, and of course there's plenty to play for, still with 30 minutes of regulation to go. But so far so good if you're Montreal.
And a lot of the fans have moved up. There is an overhang that surrounds Stade Saputo, so that shelters the fans from the rain. So even if they did have lower seats, that's the catch-22. Do you sit in your seat closer to the pitch, or
we would
go
stay
under the
there?
overhang?
We would stay in the rain. Yeah, of course we would. We would stay there.
And
no chance.
Unfortunately, they have us inside under the overhang, so we can't have that opportunity. But
you should turn your heater off. Why do you have a heater?
Camara working against two Red Bulls. Made the play back to Romero. Into the 64th minute now. Still that goal by Marco Di Vaio in the 17th minute. Holding up for the impact. Over. Aggressive play. Ferrari looks ahead. Piaggi trying to go on a run. Instead, Ferrari goes back to Pierce, and he sends it all the way back to his keeper, Evan Bush.
Well, by the way, the Montreal's approaching this, certainly the last 5 or so minutes, looks to me they're content with this 1-0 lead. I must be honest, I'm not so if I'm a Montreal fan, because I'm thinking about that return leg in New York, and I'm thinking about Montreal's road record that is as poor as anyone. And it's not just this year. They've just won 6 games of 47 away from home in their 2.5 years in Major League Soccer. So I certainly wouldn't leave it up to chance going away from home if I'm Montreal.
That's a great point, Lloyd. They need the result. They don't want to concede a goal at home. And speaking of what Mike Petke said before the match, that his Red Bulls were content with a draw, maybe the impact would go to New York with that fully in mind.
And Mike Petke would not admit as well that he would take a 1-0 defeat, because I'm sure he's confident enough to believe that they will win the game in New York. And certainly to do so, you've got to score at least one more, and he's content to believe that he might score multiple more than Montreal. And who's to blame him, considering the record of Montreal on the road?
You can understand both sides of it.
You sure? It's an interesting scenario. That's for sure. But you'd like to see them push each other in the game, don't you? So you're sitting in this cold. You don't want a boring game. You don't want teams sitting back. You want them to go at each other. But certainly you can understand the approach of both teams on the day.
Oh, now looked like Beauvert took a light kicking action. Quick talk from referee Neil Brizon, and play will continue here with a free kick. Eric Stevenson, 24-year-old, moves it into the area. Romero was there. Romero now ahead to Piatti. He's got some speed, he's got some space. Takes a look over for his favorite target, DeVayo. He's pitched wide. And Eckersley didn't give Piatti any room to make a play, but it is a Montreal ball.
And that's a perfect example there. Really the drawback of DeVayo. At his age, he doesn't really have that speed to separate from defenders when there's plenty room behind. He can hit you with 20, 25 yards of space behind, but if it's further up, just doesn't have that space to leave you. And you can see there Piatti looked up, 3, 4, 5 times, and because DeVayo wasn't in a position to separate from the fullback, he kept on dribbling, and Duca was making that run out of midfield, just not quick enough as well. He would have had to really had Usain Bolt speed to run past everyone to catch up with Piatti, who was ahead. But that's a drawback for DeVayo. That's just not his game. His game is in the final 20 yards where he's going to punish you.
We've seen that in the 17th minute of this match. That's been the only shot on target for Montreal. Haven't created much in this second half at all.
To be fair, they haven't really pushed the game to say they're trying to get that second goal. I mean, I see there's no part of their play tells me they're hunting for that second goal.
Daniel Laparade of Ferrari, content to keep possession right now, the Impact are. Romero working against Eckersley. Romero now tries to use his speed to get around Eckersley. It will go for a Montreal corner. Excellent opportunity for the Impact to make something happen from this set piece. DeVayo heads to the corner to take it. DeVayo headed away by Armando. Caleb Malice knocks it down. Look out here. Connor Lade with some speed and reaching into his pocket to approach Andres Romero is referee Neil Brizon, and Romero's blocked.
It's another easy decision by the referee. It all starts with a terrible, terrible touch from Caleb Malice. The ball sprung loose, and of course they lay it on. It's an easy decision. Romero tries to get back. Maybe just probably should have continued his run because he did have Laparade inside to help him out. Easy for me to say sitting here.
Dry, warm. Oh, dangerous chance. Paranel not happy with that whistle.
Well, Mike Petke's not happy with the whistle, that's for sure. And at first glance, we didn't see much. Fact of the matter is, Evan Bush came up with the fantastic save anyway. Steered over for a corner.
Another booking coming up. Connor Lade this time. Camara is playing with that injured elbow. Said he'll play through the pain. You can see it's wrapped. Not sure if that's the injury. It looks more like a leg right
What's the old saying? You give it, then you take it. He just got taken down moments ago. Lade says, you know what? I could give some of this as well. Hassan Kamara never far from the action. Showing his studs there, the wee man, Connor Lade, and the referee has no choice really but to reach for his back pocket.
Mike Petke with some instruction. He's been using Eric Stevenson in important situations, set pieces. Kamara's up.
Yeah, we have a look at that set piece and why Mike Petke jumped off the bench. It's Ferrari inside with Armando just battling. It's just usual stuff in the box. I don't see anything there. It's two players battling for position as we have a look at it again. And then just what's in the middle of your screen there, it's Armando, it's Ferrari. I don't see much there. Maybe Armando's got his back turned to goal. Makes him look guilty because really he should be facing the other way. That's why Mike Petke jumped off the bench. Evan Bush saved it anyway, so it's often null and void, the argument. Comes back to set piece, doesn't it? Don't see much from New York, but when you give them a set piece, it's been their most dangerous moments of the game so far. And again, you know, that one's wiped off by a call from the referee, but if had it played through, Evan Bush was forced into yet another save.
That's where New York's created their chances. Piatti for Montreal. Head to Duca. Had DeVio nearby. Cleared away. Ignacio Piatti. Teammates affectionately calling him Nacho. So good in MLS play. So good since he's joined Montreal. Number 10 for the Impact. 4 goals in 5 MLS games. Had the assist to DeVio. 1 goal in this match. First leg of the home and home between New York and Montreal in CONCACAF Champions League play. Dili Duca. Over to Malice. Heath Pierce. That's broken up by the Red Bulls. They conglomerate in the middle. Make things difficult for Montreal to create anything offensively. Pierce moves it ahead to Gagnon Laparé. Well played by Romero. A hard pass. Knocked it down. DeVio working against Peronel. DeVio trying to get a chance. And another yellow card. This time DeVio gets it. And a sly smirk on his face.
Well, he knew what he was doing, DeVio. I mean, Kamara goes down under a challenge, but DeVio knew what he's doing here. He was never going to get this ball. So he just kind of half-assed. He leaves the ground a little bit. Just a half challenge, really. And have a look at it again. The give and go doesn't work out. It's cleared. The danger is, and DeVio knows what he's doing there. He just sticks his leg out into the hip of Kamara. And when the referee shows that card, DeVio was actually looking at that card. Usually players don't do that. They know they're just going to get a yellow. He could have thought that might have been a red because he was showing his stud there, and he knew what he was doing right from the get-go in that moment.
Some relief when the yellow came out of referee Neil Brizon's pocket. A few players in this match now on 1 yellow. Peronel. His pass nowhere near any Red Bulls teammates. Now into the 75th minute. Montreal still with that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, and you just wonder if this isn't the moment now where if you're Frank Lopez, you're looking to bring in Jack McInerney to replace DeVayo, who you know he's not the same after 75 minutes as he is in the first 20 or even the first half for that matter. And we've really got a moment of contention here because Late, I tell you what, if he gets away without getting a book in here, I will be shocked.
He's already on a yellow.
At first glance, he stepped over this ball and with only one intention, and that's to go for whatever leg is standing there, and in this case, it's Lapierre. And I would be floored if he doesn't get a second yellow and a sending off here.
Captain Armando trying to plead his case, and there it is. Connor Lade. Second yellow. And the Red Bulls will be down a man.
Yeah, we have another look again, and it's a classic case of it. He's over-dribbled there. It's a classic case, and look, he just goes really for the foot. And he lunges. He doesn't really get Gagnon Lapierre as he probably would have wanted to, but you can see the intention. And I think a lot of times, and you can see the step there, and of course the follow-up leg does probably more damage than the lead leg, but because that lead leg is showing the studs, that's where the intent is. And you know, a lot of times people don't understand that the intent is enough for you to be guilty in the referee's eyes, and you don't always have to connect to get the booking. And that was enough for me for that second yellow card, which he just got the first one moments early. So it's kind of silly on his part. And you've got to wonder now, surely now Montreal will be trying to push for a second goal with them having a man down and 14 minutes of regulation time to go.
Connor Lade had just been called up from the New York Cosmos of the North American Soccer League. 2 yellows. And he is ejected from the game. Red Bulls down to 10 men. Good news for Montreal Impact is Jeremy Gagnon Lapierre has shaken that off, and he has remained out there.
Well, to be fair, he didn't get a brunt of the contact, and you could see it at second glance. It looked at you worse at the first look.
The way that right leg had folded under when you initially saw it, it looked like it could be something serious.
And that was a result of Lade's follow-up leg that caught him as well. So he missed him a little bit with the first, but he got him with the second. Either way, he got him, and it was enough for a second yellow. There's no question about that. And I think it's silly on his part because he only moments ago got his first booking. And now Mike Pesky's team is really in a bit of trouble here because it's what we spoke of before. 1-0 down, you can live with that, but if it's multiple goals going back home, it's a tough ask. It really is.
Well, if you're Montreal now, don't you have to go for it? New York's down a man. You got to try to add to this lead now.
And I thought they should go for it when they had 11 men when New York did. So with 10, it goes without saying. For me, they've got to push this thing as New York gets set to make a change.
Zaire Sen heads off, and Eric Alexander, who has appeared in every match he's been available for in nearly 2 years for the New York Red Bulls. He's an Iron Man. He's in there now with the Red Bulls with 10 men, and he is one of their regulars. 8 assists this season. That's right near the leaders in MLS play. So a fresh Eric Alexander into the game for New York. Be just over 10 minutes to play. Red Bulls down to 10 men, and the Impact lead 1-0 on that goal by Marco DeVayo in the 17th minute.
I don't really expect Alexander to do much more than just try to solidify things in midfield, try to keep possession for them and help out defensively in that area of the pitch.
Eckersley wisely stopped his run. Gagnon Lapierre, he has to deal with Eckersley. Now the turnover. Alexander moves it back to Obacomp, who's been quiet in this second half. The 19-year-old from Cameroon will take the throw in. Eric Alexander takes a look at goal. No chance of getting it there. Duca, Gagné, Lapierre right in front of him. Alexander again. Chips it ahead. Heath Pierce read the play, broke it up. And there'll be a couple of substitutions coming up for Montreal. Vandril Lefebvre coming in for Ignacio Piatti. And a standing ovation for the designated player from Argentina. Fans in Montreal love him, and you can understand why. And also coming in will be Jack McInerney, a 22-year-old with 7 goals this year. He will replace Marco Di Vaio, who leaves his captain armband, which will now go to Matteo Ferrari. And Di Vaio also gets a nice ovation from the crowd here at Stade Saputo. And Jack McInerney, some fresh young legs. New York will also make another substitution. Dax McCarty, who's one of their unsung heroes, maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves. He'll come into this match, and out comes Ruben Bover. Dax McCarty has over 200 MLS appearances, a veteran in MLS play, mainstay in the Red Bulls lineup. When the Impact players were talking to the media yesterday, they mentioned how dangerous some of the Impact member or the Red Bulls members are, and Dax McCarty was the guy that got a lot of credit from the Impact players. Keep in mind, New York's down to 10 men. Armando, the captain for the Red Bulls. Montreal not aggressive, even though New York's down to 10 men. Eric Alexander working against Eric Miller. Christensen sends it back to Armando. Paranel. Cleared by the Impact. Paranel sends it to his keeper, Ryan Mara. He hasn't been busy in this second half. 23-year-old from Crestwood, New York. Moves it ahead to Paranel, now over to Armando. Red Bulls content just to maintain possession, and Montreal's not pressuring. Into the 84th minute. Vandril Lefebvre gets his first touch since entering the match. Lefebvre. Play will continue with advantage for New York. Play the advantage into the area. Knocked away by Montreal. Heath Pierce. He comes out aggressively to make sure the Impact get possession. Camara. Long service. Too far for Dili Duca. Now lots of space for Armando. Takes his time. Montreal just sitting back. They have the lead. They want to put this result in the books.
Well, Frank Lopez is really shuffling this thing around. There are a lot of people in Montreal that have asked for Vandril Lefebvre to play in the center of midfield. Generally, he turns out as a center half. So this is his first go-around in this position in this team. as he goes in and makes a challenge there. But it's some shuffling here because Gagnon Lepere pulls out to the left flank, which is not his favorite position. And of course, De La Duca, who's familiar as a number 10, slips into the gap.
Andres Romero. Can he create something for Montreal? Latter stages of the match. Made a move around Eckersley, then had to deal with Stevenson. Now into the corner. And it trickles harmlessly for a goal kick. Two balls in play right now. They'll sort that out. Crowd will have a cheer as one of them goes into the net. The second leg will be on October 22nd at Red Bull Arena in New York, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific on Sportsnet World. If Montreal can hang on, they will have 9 points in the group stage of CONCACAF Champions League. The best New York could do is equal those 9 points. But then it comes to tie breaks. Eckersley, ball into the area, dangerous, but very calm is Heath Pearce, the veteran defender. Cleared away. One-on-one chance, McInerney. He's fresh legs out there, but he was double teamed by Armando and Paranal. Confident move from Ian Christensen, 23-year-old. Red Bulls down to 10 men. Connor Lade just called up from the NASL. 2 yellows. He was ejected, but Montreal has not created much offense despite being up a man. Maybe here. Andres Romero has McInerney near a goal, and Romero just wide of goal. That would have been a huge goal for Montreal.
It was a combination of things here, and you got to give Mir a lot of credit in the end as Montreal break through. It's a good combination. They finally split the back line. Finally. But give the goalkeeper Mir a lot of credit here as Duca slips Romero through. It's perfectly set up, but Mira comes out quickly, and it's not his favorite foot. Romero, and he just hears it wide. It's actually well wide in the end. But you got to give the goalkeeper a lot of credit, who really came out and made himself big, made Romero think about it, and it just forced him to steer it wide. Maybe that's the chance. Montreal needed to go that 2-up, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be speaking about this on October 22nd. That might come back to haunt them.
You certainly hope not if you're the Montreal Impact, but that second goal would have come in handy. Impact have to be tidy defensively. Can't concede one. Camara. Head to Romero. Lefebvre backtracks. Caleb Malice.
You've just got to look at the fact that Montreal has still held their back four intact after Lade has been sent off with nearly 14 minutes to go in regulation. They haven't changed a thing, so clearly they're not pushing for a second goal. If they can get it as they just tried to do, they'll be happy with that. But clearly they're happy with just going in and grabbing the 3 points. And for, who can blame them, really?
Well, that's what they have to do. That's number one. They have to get the result. They have to get the full 3 points, and they have to be careful here. Stevenson working his way against Camara. Not much support. Camara defended well. Eckersley. The result here for Montreal would give them 9 points. 3-0 in the group stage. Dax McCarty fell, got back up, maintained possession. Top of the area, doesn't shoot, hands off to Kimura. Now a chance for Alexander. All put Out into the goal area, headed away by Pierce. And 4 minutes of added time. Plenty of rough play. Substitutions. We're not done with the substitutions either. Dili Duca will come off, and in comes Anthony Jackson-Amel. 21-year-old, made his first MLS start on Saturday. And Jackson-Amel will see another appearance here in a Montreal Impact uniform. We assume that New York will take care of business against Foss in El Salvador, but nothing's guaranteed there. And in the second leg, it would be a must-win for New York should Montreal get the full 3 points. So the safe play is to make sure that they hang on to this lead.
Oh, absolutely. The 3 points is priority first and foremost. And how you go about it, that's somewhat irrelevant. And then, of course, you know, it's a bonus if you can get multiple goals ahead going into the game in New York. But if we want to talk about New York, the first thing is you've got to wonder what type of lineup they're going to take to Deportivo in El Salvador, because they've got to go with their big guns to get that result. If they're trying to go with the second-tier lineup as they did tonight, there's certainly no guarantees in that one. I mean, even if with the big boys, there's no guarantees. I think they're really asking for trouble if they don't go with their first team to Deportivo.
Jackson-Amel, fresh off the bench as a substitute, and again, just wide of goal.
I think he was whistled here for the infraction, and you can see he just got an arm up on Armando, and the referee actually calls it back there, so it was off for nod, which he missed anyway. Just wonder if Lopez put that young man on just a minute or two too late. I know he'd be eager to try to get that second goal for his team.
Not much time remaining. Red Bulls are down a man, down a goal. Are they content to lose 1-0? Or will they push for something? Montreal has to be careful. Ferrari with the foul. This will be a free kick for New York, and Eckersley trying to get all the real estate he can.
Well, it's another free kick. I mean, it's not, you know, it's some ways from the goal, but it is yet another free kick, and it's going to be a ball delivered in the box with a lot of traffic, and anything can happen here. It's, you know, Montreal just putting themselves in unnecessary trouble.
Stevenson serves it in, headed to the top of the area. Another great opportunity, but Montreal was back to defend. Now on transition, Andres Romero catching up is the speedy Jackson-Amel, and that opportunity, you could just hear the crowd get the air sucked out of them.
You can hear the crowd. It's so, when you're sitting up high, you see the whole field. When you're Andres Romero, you're dribbling at two defenders. You don't know there are two players on your right. You can't hear them because the crowd is so loud because they're saying play it, play it. But Andres Romero, he only needed a small glance to his right to see the streaking support he had. And now they're telling him, you see Jack McInerney telling him, we were there, son, we were there. Andres Romero, wouldn't you know, he dribbles into trouble instead.
Romero's had some great opportunities late in this second half. Referee blows the whistle. The result is in favor of the Montreal Impact, and they do what they had to do at Stade Saputo, get the full 3 points, and Lloyd, they lead the group with 9 points.
And that was priority number one. Get the win, get the points in the bank, and then let's see how the chips fall after that. They've got to go to New York now and get the job done there, because New York is going to come at them. Their road record hasn't been wonderful, Montreal. They're going to have to try to change that October 22nd, because New York will have all their big guns ready to go at them full force.
Marco Di Vaio had the goal in the 17th minute. That's all the scoring there was in this match. Connor Lade was sent off with 2 yellows. New York played the majority of the second half a man short, but Frank Klopas' squad not able to generate that second goal. Bottom line is Montreal gets the victory. They lead Group 3 in the CONCACAF.